So hey guys, what's up? This is Scher talking. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're talking about Galahad and the Ice Sword event and the pros and cons to go after the character or the sword. Well, like I said, it's on my past video. I'll be explaining the good things and the bad things. Galahad is a very good character, but well, you can also choose a sword. Depends on your box. If you have way too many characters to deal cold damage, if you are really desperate for a Greatsword weapon, well, we have to cover this all, and we'll be using the UniverSe website to cover most stuff, and I'll also try to explain how is Galahad used to make farming easier. So first, let's go to UniverSe. This one is the one that we can get for free. This other one is the one that is a ultra deluxe style, and well, there's some clashing things already here. If you are thinking about summoning for the ultra deluxe style, you'll be getting into his ultra deluxe style as well. Getting the welfare first will allow him to reach some more STR, at least 2 points more endurance. Well, that's it. That's the only two things that really matters here. All the other stuff doesn't really matter. But 2 points on STR means usually 4 final points on STR, since the modifier is, well, very close to 100, especially now that they are breaking 100 status on Japan. And also for the modifiers, as you can see, it's pretty high for a welfare unit. 452% modifier. I believe you have to compare him to a recent character we got here on global, like Final Emperor. Let's just compare the final modifiers. As you can see, Final Emperor is a character that always had high multipliers, but 478 is his final modifier based on everything that he gets. And as you can see, we could compare to some other welfares like Ward. And Ward has, well, very low modifiers. And now when you click on Galahad, you will see that, well, he is like a premium style. Very close to a premium style. This is like the same modifiers, at least same final modifiers, than the original version of Gustav. As you can see, both this version and this one has 455. Our version of Battle of Bucket Hill Gustav has more because he was buffed for global, so he's very compared to Ultra Deluxe because of the buff. But, well, it's just a sign that how strong this Galahad can be when compared to premium units. Well, as you can see, 82% is not so high for STR, so well, that is this. The endurance is pretty high on 73%. He also gets more raw status here with 14 bonus on both STR and endurance. And then you have, well, average dexterity, not so high agility, but well, he has fast skills, so agility doesn't really play a huge part of his skills. And very bad intelligence, well, average will, love, and charm. We don't really need to care too much about this, especially since he's a farming unit. Now let's just enter the analysis part where we can check the character, and well, we have to click on this one. So, what makes this guy so interesting? Two things. So remember the last video that I was talking about Final Emperor? On my review, I was talking about the first skill, that it was very close to this one. You have 6 modifier, AoE attack with only 1 elemental. In Final Emperor's case is just Sun, and in the Galahad case is Cold. But they are pretty similar in this regard, they are just like the same. The thing here is that 6 power is lower than a normal attack. A normal attack has a 7 modifier. So what you can do here is just upgrade this to level 99 and the damage will be a little higher. But it's interesting since you can spam this for infinity. Well, it uses 2 BP, you get 3 by a turn. So the second skill is Freeze Spike, and it's an interesting skill because it helps his build. It's a supportive skill, he will not use this on auto. Gets himself into a Freeze Spike state, so he will receive damage, but he will negate any type of cold damage, but he will counterattack with cold. Well, it's not useful all the time, you know, because he negates cold, he counterattacks with cold, and well, it uses 9 BP, you can reduce it to 7. Well, at least he has some very good endurance to cover for this if you decide to use this. But like I said, he's a character used for farming. You will not be using him for boss fights unless say the boss is only weak to cold, then you can place him in the front, then you can take advantage of this. And for the last skill we have Winter Storm, and this is the best skill from Galahad. As you can see, it's 8 power, 31 modifier, so very high because it's AoE. So a very powerful attack that can be used. But the most important thing is the fast property here. It's also an indirect attack, very nice as well. It's also a cold attack, so all of these attacks are cold, we already knew this. All of them are based on STR, and Winter Storm becomes very impressive because of something called the Power Shards too. This skill here gives him 2 more BP when the start of a fight, so he starts with 12, but you may be asking, if he starts with 12 BP, he will not be able to use Winter Storm on turn 1. Well, okay, we all agree on this, but look on Cold Wind. It uses only 3, so you can reduce this to 2, and what will happen is, if you don't have any other AoE attackers with fast property for turn 1 like Barthélemy, he will attack with Cold Wind on turn 1, and alongside some of your other characters, and on turn 2, he will use Winter Storm. All the time. Every time. Always. And that makes it super easy to use this guy. After he uses Winter Storm, he will just keep using Cold Wind again and again and again and again in fights. And that's what makes him so useful. We don't have any character with this setup here that makes it so easy to use. We have Beauty, but even Beauty has some problems if she gets to high speed on the first wave. And well, he would never have problems if he starts with Cold Wind and then changes to Winter Storm and then back to Cold Wind and keep using. You just have to awaken the skills. So it's super easy to use this guy. The only problem is that he only uses cold damage. But we don't have many sources of cold damage in the game, so that allows him to be very strong. Also, if you are using him for AoE fast attacks and you have the Rainbow Rangers formation, you may be using Coppelia on the agility slot, you may be using Mikhail on the dexterity slot, you may be using Barthélemy or Bune on the intelligence slot, and you can use him on the STR slot. So you have a full squad of fast AoE attackers that will serve you for a lot of time. They will probably kill all stages for a long time. Very good strategies when using AoE attackers, and you can also decide if you want to use him with some specific combinations. Let's think about something here. Which enemies are weak to different fast attackers? Well, Cold is usually aligned to enemies that are both weak to Blunt and Pierce sometimes. Some underwater enemies will be weak to both elements. So you can use him with Corpelia. Very easy to do. There will be some enemies that will be weak to both Cold and Slash, but not many. There will be enemies that will be weak against any type of magical attack, so he will work with Barthélemy super easily. And there is also some enemies that are weak to both Cold and Pierce, so he can be used with Mikhail for fast. And that is also some type of enemies that are underwater. Mikhail can also do sun damage with his AoE attack. It's Pierce plus sun, so if you find enemies that are weak to both combinations or just to elemental attacks, they will work well together. You can also use Madeline alongside Galahad. You can also use the Dragoon Strike formation. That will work pretty fine because you can use them on the 50 plus STR slots and they will work well. A lot of enemies that are weak to cold are also weak against lightning, so they will also work very, very well. But you also have to remember that you can start with attackers that are not fast attackers. He makes it even easier to use them because he will start with Cold Wind. He can use the strength of your other characters to clear the first wave. He would then use a very strong attack on the second wave, and then you can use your other characters to keep doing damage just fine. So he becomes one of the easiest fast attackers to use in the game. So that's why he was regarded as one of the best and highest tier characters for a lot of time in Japan, even being a welfare unit. That's an interesting thing. Well, and for passive, the first one is Fighting Spirit Enchantment, STR. He increases his own STR when he attacks with 25% chances. The value is 20% increase in his own STR. This is cool when you look on the value, but it's very old. We'll be getting characters that will buff themselves with a 100% chances. He's also mostly used for farming. That means that you don't want him to, well, use more than one turn to kill enemies, and he needs the second turn to use this buff, because every time you get a buff, it disappears on the next wave. Power Charge, we already talked, is very important to his own kit. And the last one is Weakness Concentration 4. That increases his damage by 20% when he's attacking a weak target. Just remember, you have to use this guy on enemies that are weak to cold. He works wonders for those cases, but just for these cases, he's a specific type of damage dealer that is restricted. He does not have slash. Well, he will be very good if he had as well. Just cold, and when he's useful, he'll be extremely useful. You can find enemies weak to cold. Okay, so that's the whole reason why people were so excited about this character. A very good AoE attacker that has no restriction, can be used easily. There is no need to form different strategies, he will just work. And also being an attacker with only elemental damage that can be placed on STR slots, it opens some diversity when creating new formations. Like I said, with Rainbow Rangers, you can try to build a squad for elemental damage, giving him the STR slot. You know, it's very similar to what you can do now with Madeline as well. Okay, so I just want to say something about his future SS style that is an Ultra Deluxe exclusive. And this one is, well, finally giving him the slash property alongside the cold damage. But, well, he's a little unreliable. We have characters in the game that use RNG to give more damage, and he's like one of those. As you can see, the first skill is the same as we have with Global Exclusive Katarina and the latest Platinum Katarina. Glacial's Word, well, here's the name is different. Then he has his Frozen attack that's pretty awesome actually, because it's indirect, far, B power, very high, and you can reduce this to 4. Well, it's very useful. You can see here that he uses this first awakening item. 4 is still cool. And then he has this Frozen Sword attack, is a single target attack, and it reduces the agility of your enemy by 20%. Well, that is if he gets to do this, because he needs very high intelligence as well. But if you're using him with Matriarch or Nawal's Daughter, he will always have enough, unless the enemy has very insane will. Okay, so Frozen Sword is pretty strong in triple S damage, but it's still not that high. Triple S damage go as far as 70s, so the modifier is not so high, but you can use this on turn 1. Man, this can be used on turn 1 without a need of power charge. As you can see it here, has 2 properties, slash and cold, so it becomes very useful for turn 1 damage and also to keep cycling in using the skill. And now looking on his passives, you will understand why I said that he is unreliable. With every skill that he uses, he has 25% chances of using Winter Storm. Remember Winter Storm for our free Galahad? That's the same attack that he will use here. But you have to understand that it has to be the attacks that come from himself, not for inheritance. It has to be one of those 3 attacks. So you have to keep using the first, the second, or the third skill, and the chances just 25% of this happening. I don't think this is reliable. I will not be forming many strategies that relies too much on 25% of something happening, unless you are facing a challenge where you need to clear the first wave with lots of enemies and you have one, well, mid-boss or some strong enemy, well, and you don't care too much about retrying and, well, keep trying till it lands. A lot of people will not like this. The second passive is Cold Air Amplification. This increases 15% of cold type attacks. It's strange since he also does slash, so I don't know why they did this. It should be just fired up 4 or fired up 5. Well, anyway, that's what he gets. And Overtension is like one of the best passives in the game. I believe this is like the second time I'm talking about this. It gives you 15% increase on skills, 15% increase on overdrive attacks, and 15% increase on co-op attacks, combos. It's amazing because you have 3 different effects in the same passive. That is because he's an Ultra Deluxe character. And, well, I still don't know if everyone will summon for this guy because of how he needs to rely on RNG. He has very high STR, he breaks the freestyle easily. He can get 30% increasing damage for cold or 15 for slash, very close. And all times on combos he gets more, and overdrive he gets even more. It's very nice, but just relies too much on RNG for my taste. You can also stick to Cold Wind usage if you inherit from the free version, but you have to decide to get him right now. It will deal very good damage because of better passes, better STR, but, well, I still believe that the selling point is to just keep using Winter Storm by chances. Well, now that we're talking about the character, we need to talk about the weapon, man, because you now know how Galahad works. You can decide by yourself as soon as the event starts. And now we'll be talking about the weapon. We have this page here. As you can see, in Japan right now, there's two different SS Greatswords. They are both related to Galahad. Well, let me explain. Right now, you can decide upon the Ice Sword or Galahad. In the future, they will rerun this event with some differences, and you can decide upon the same Galahad or the Death Sword. Ice Sword has skill power that is for water element. Well, it's useless because no Greatsword user will take advantage of this. Remember, there are still people that believe that if you have water property to your weapon, it will increase the damage of your Katarina because of the cold attacks, or now for Galahad. But no, it doesn't work like this. All the skills are sword skills, so they only scale on STR. They will never use the skill power. So this is useless. It's just because of the original game that he comes from that uses a nice sword, so they kept the theme of the weapon, but it's not like it's used like this. So the second weapon, the Death Sword, has a higher weapon power. It's 45 instead of 44. Also, we need to remember something. This image here is showing the final values of those weapons. When we get them, we will not receive them on 44 or 45. In Japan right now, there is an upgrade system for SS weapons that get them way better. When we get him, I believe that we'll be getting him with 38 or something power. I don't remember exactly. But only in the far future we will be able to upgrade those weapons. But still, just look on this. One more weapon power, one more STR. But you lose one endurance, you lose 2 dexterity. Here we don't lose this. And you lose 2 points of agility. And on the Ice Swords we lose 3. So this is why I believe that getting Galahad now is better than getting him later. So I can give up on the Ice Sword and get the Death Sword instead. Even if it's just one weapon power, it's still better. But some people will still choose the 2 sword instead of Galahad. Well, I do understand those people because they don't want to train more units. Galahad is not useful all the time. He's restricted to cold damage. And when he gets his future style, it will be an Ultra Deluxe that is still a little restricted. It relies too much on RNG. He is good when he is strong against cold. And when he's not, he may be just collecting dust into your box. Well, I believe they will release more Greatswords with an SS Rarity. Some weapons have way too many versions already. As you can see, we have like a lot of different staves. They are SSs. We have some spears. We have at least 3. We have, well, 1 bow, 1 rapier, 1 gun, 4 different martial artists' weapon, 1 club, 1 axe, and lastly, 4 sword. We have a lot as well. We have at least 3. Well, Polka's word is not so good because it decreases STR. But in the future, once we get to upgrade it, it will still be useful for damage dealers. There's one last thing that needs to be clear. And right now on Global, we can farm Greatswords with 31 weapon power. That's the highest that we can reach. And this weapon will come with 36 weapon power. In the end, you have to question yourself if it's worth sacrificing the character for 5 more weapon power. Right now. Well, the difference in damage will be around 15%. And in the future, it will be way higher because you can upgrade the weapon. And I strongly believe that they will release eventually more Greatswords. So, well, let's just get back into the first image we opened, and let's talk about Galahad and his word. Is Galahad worth? Surely he is. It is worth. Sure it is as well. But Galahad will be way better for those that don't have that many fast attackers. That's a good decision. If you are a starting player, if you started not so long ago, choose Galahad as an easy advice to choose him because he's easy to use. He will help you by clearing and advancing through the game. But if you already have way too many cold damage dealers and you want to just give your Greatsword users more damage, and you can decide upon skipping this Galahad and the next one. It's okay to skip the character. But remember, Galahad is strong now. He will be useful now. In the future, when we can get the Death Sword, he loses power. He will have a lot more competitivity, and that's the reason why I will be choosing the character over the sword. Also, remember, the Ice Elemental from the sword will not help you at all. So what will be your choice? Please say here in the comment section. I wonder how many people will choose the character and how many people will choose this word. I hope they also update it after the event ends and showing how many people choose it one instead of another. I just want to thank you for watching this video to the end. Hope it helped in any way. And if you want to support the channel, you can use any of the links on the description of the video. You can also join our Discord server where we discuss games in general, also UniverSe, and we see each other on the next video. Bye.